guys, good evening. Welcome to Finish the Race VL, aka Victory Lap. I am Liz, your host, and welcome back. I know it's been a minute since I've done my last video. My last video is the past 4 days have been truly challenging for me. I've been traveling by road to Washington, D.C. From Houston, Texas, and I've been having issues with getting my visa. As you all know, I just recently received my passport a few weeks ago. However, I had to go through the process of getting my visa, not knowing that the visa process was going to be another difficult challenge. And what I mean by that is, I didn't know that they were backed up with appointments and interviews. And it's been a while since I've gotten a visa. So I remember the first time I've gotten a visa years ago. When I traveled abroad, it wasn't a difficult process at all. Matter of fact, I had got it the same day. Once you set up an appointment for an interview where you can process all of your paperwork. And I remember getting my visa stamp like the same day. And to my ignorance, I thought the process was still the same. And I didn't know that you had to go through a protocol of setting up an appointment. And then also it can take up to 15 days for you to actually get your visa. So I was in a little bit of a dilemma where I had to make a decision to, for once, um, the Nigerian embassy here in Houston appointments were booked up until February of 2021. So I couldn't have gone through my local office here. Two, there were other third party um, um, places where you can go to process your visa, and they were, to me, they were very costly. And I thought that maybe I can do it a cheaper way where I can go and get it processed myself and get it the process of the visa myself by applying through the Nigerian embassy, which is the Nigerian consulate of Atlanta. And instead of going through these third-party vendors, and one I went to actually the local office here in Houston, which is located off the Southwest Freeway. And let me tell you, this guy was so extremely disrespectful, rude. I mean, there was no way that I was going to give him business with the attitude that he had given me here in Houston. So I took it upon myself to try to find a cheaper and somewhat easier way to get it processed myself, because this whole preparation to take this trip to Africa in a couple of weeks, um, it's been taking a toll on me, a financial toll, a spiritual toll, a time consuming toll with this whole COVID and everything being backed up and waiting for a long time for your passport to process and getting information about your the international airlines that I had chose was not on the approved list to enter into the country of Nigeria. It's just been like one issue after the other. If I sound a little down, it's because I just recently got back from DC by car um, uh, early this morning. Right now, it's still Saturday, but I came into DC at 3:44 a.m. this morning in Houston. It took me a total of 29 hours one way to drive to DC. Now I'm a little all over the place, and so hopefully I can make sense of what I'm trying to say. And again, excuse me if I sound a little down or a little tired. I'm still exhausted. I'm um, I'm in the bed right now. Like literally, I'm in my bed because I'm tired. I'm really tired. But let me get my thoughts together. So I thought it would be cheaper for me to go through the Nigerian. Let me see. I'm going to pause the video because I'm just all over the place, and I want to make sure that I get my information right. So just one second. Okay, so what I was trying to say was that I applied for the visa application on the Consulate General of Nigeria, Atlanta, Georgia. And they have a process where you complete your online application through their online portal. So once you go to the website there, you select what visa that you want to apply for. And when you click on that, it automatically routes you through another third party partnership company that processes all of the Nigerian visa application, through that Nigerian embassy or whatever. And that system is called the Online Integrated System or Service. So once you apply for that and you complete the online application, then it directs you to pay for the $160, which I thought was much cheaper than the 550 bucks. So I said, okay, great. So pay for that. And then it says book your appointment so that you can have all of the proper documents and paperwork and invitation letter from the host that you will be living with in Nigeria, all those documents that you would need in order for them to approve your visa. And I did that. And when I went to go book the appointment was booked for the Atlanta office. And I thought, to me, that was a little ass backwards, because I'm like, okay, if you know that the appointments are already booked, then you shouldn't accept any applications through that particular office that's in Atlanta. And so I looked at my other options to see what other offices that I can go to, and I didn't know that there was a local office here in Houston. So I said, well, let me book the appointment through Houston. Houston was booked up until February of 2021. So I couldn't have booked the appointment through my Houston office. So the other available office was New York, California, and D.C. And D.C., New York, California were all booked as well. So the only available one that was open for appointments was the Washington D.C. office. Hey guys, today literally has been a rough day for me. I am literally right now in Washington D.C. I am at the Washington Monument, and I'm up here trying to get my visa. I'm sorry if there's a little bit of a shadow on me. I'm trying to find the right lighting, but but anyways, yeah, I'm here because I came to get my visa. Come here, mama. My dog is with me. Come here, Precious, please, honey. There's a lot of people everywhere on their bikes, exercising and having a good time. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm not good at this, but I'm at the Washington Monument here. Right now I think it's like 6:30 at night, but it gets dark here early. It's like around 4:30 it started to get like really dark, and it's like I didn't have enough time to get any sunlight, because I wanted to come out here earlier today to come to, the next place I'm going to is to the White House, and and then the Abraham Lincoln Monument, and I'm here now at the Washington Monument. And there is some lighting over here that I thought that I'll take this opportunity to kind of talk to you guys a little bit. But this has been a very challenging couple of days for me, because as you know, in a couple of weeks I'm going to be going to Africa. And since the process of the passport had taken so long, because of the COVID shutdown that backed up all the applications, once I had received my passport, of course the next step to do is to get your visa. And unfortunately they had also been backed up with visa applications. And in my city, Houston, Texas, my hands is getting tired, so I'm kind of like switching up. My city in Houston, Texas, the embassy, Nigerian embassy, was booked up until February of 2021. So I tried Atlanta, they were also booked. So I tried New York, booked. California, booked. So the only place that was not booked, that I later discovered that was on the Facebook group, Travel to Niger, there were a lady who mentioned that they had some available appointments open for the DC location. So I booked a flight to go to DC. Unfortunately, I had missed that flight. I underestimated the time. I got there in time, but I parked at the wrong terminal. And this was at the Bush International Airport, and that airport is a pretty huge airport, let me tell you. And the terminal that I needed to go to for my flight was at Terminal A, which I had to take the underground train to get there. And by the time I got there, I didn't realize the train was too it was a slow running train. It was not even like, it's not like Atlanta or I think it was Atlanta that I went to, where you get on the trains. That train is like super fast. It was super slow, which eventually I missed my flight. And then they said, well, I can rebook so I don't totally lose the money that I had put into the ticket. But unfortunately, I could not get it rebooked, because I needed to know if I can set another appointment for the Nigerian embassy here in DC. So the next day I called them, see if I can book an appointment, and thankfully she was like, well, it takes 15 business days for you to get a visa. And then she said up to 15 business days, it's not guaranteed. She said even if you came on the day that your appointment was, it wasn't going to guarantee that I was going to actually get my visa. So I was like, oh my God. So I'm like, so what, are you telling me that I need to just cancel the flight and reschedule and just pay the additional amount of money to move the scheduling date back? So I think she heard the distress in my voice and said, okay, come Thursday at 3 p.m. we'll work it out. I said no more. I thought that was my sign and a favor from God to go ahead and just do it. So I went, and I guess I can talk and walk at the same time, because I'm trying to get closer to the Washington Monument. If it gets a little dark, that means I'm not at a place where there's good lighting. But so just bear with me for right now. Because I want to get closer to up there, and I don't want to waste any time. But so I went back to the airport to let them know that I got the okay to reschedule. I said, can I go ahead and do the rebooking? They said, unfortunately, the rebooking had to be done on the same day that I had missed the flight. And considering that it was the following day, I pretty much have just lost all that money, and I had to buy a whole new ticket. So I said, well, how much would that be? You know how it is when you buy a ticket the same day or within the next day for a trip, it's expensive. It's like, it's really expensive. So I've been losing out on so much money. I've already lost money out on, you know, that flight, and that's my fault. I should have got there an hour in advance. I put too much on my plate, so that's my fault. And it was a lesson for me to be punctual and be more than punctual, giving yourself at least an hour, you know, or two to kind of prepare yourself. But everything has been like such a rush for me. So, and then also, when they told me the price of the ticket, I was like, I can't afford that, because I've already started, you know, going into my traveling funds to Africa. And remember, I'm trying to travel to 4 different countries, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do that right now at this point, because it's been coming very costly, and not to mind. And also, I have to pay for the COVID test. We know how that is. But anyways, I had to make the decision, and I decided to drive to DC from Houston, Texas. It took me literally 29 hours. I took about, I would say about 4 or 5 breaks, and then I had to sleep in my car at one point. But hey, I had to do what I had to do. On the way up there, I had 4 hours left. I was getting closer. I think I was in Virginia at the time, in the mountains somewhere. It was so beautiful. My navigation stopped working on my phone. Actually, my phone stopped working completely. It's like at 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, no, out of all the worst things that could happen to me right now, this happens to me. So I pulled over to a gas station to ask the clerk if she can pull up the address on her navigation, and I would just literally write down the remainder of directions that was left for me to get to where I needed to be, because I wanted to be close enough to where the embassy is at so that I can go ahead, or the partnership of the embassy is a OIS, online integrated system, that is partnered with the Nigerian embassy to do processing for visa and also passport applications. So happened the gas station that I stopped at, I told her I was in distress, and my phone is not working where I can't use the navigation, and I said, you know, basically, can she help me and pull it up on her phone where I can get the directions, excuse me. And she pulls out like a map, and she was like, well, you can get. I'm like, look, I ain't trying to do no old school map, because I'm by myself with my dog. I said, can you just pull it up on your phone, please? You know, and she did. And I kind of shared with her with some personal things that I've been having some other challenges going on in my life that I really don't like to tell people what I'm going through, because I don't want people to feel like they got to sympathize with me or whatever the case may be, because I've always been a very independent person. But I understand that we're all here to help one another, and sometimes we can't be stubborn to get that support and help. Maybe that support can be through a prayer or just listening or a monetary means. And I'm not gonna lie, this whole planning for this trip has been very stressful, financially stressful, because I've had some job opportunities that fell through on me. That was a huge portion of my money for me sustaining myself, and also for taking this trip to Africa. But anyway, at the end of the conversation, I ended up getting the directions from her, and right before I was about to leave out of the gas station, she gave me $100 bill. She said, you seem like you've been going through so much. And she said, don't give up on your journey. She said, these challenges that you're going through right now is for a reason. And you just got to keep on pushing and get to the finish line. And that's exactly what I did. I just kept on pushing. And so, if she ever see this video, I just want to let her know that she was definitely a beacon of light in my life at that moment, because I don't have family support here in the U.S. Most of my family that support me is in Africa, and that's one of the main reasons why I want to be there, because it's totally different here. Maybe one day I'll share my story, but I just want to personally thank her at this time. Thank you so much for helping me, because that money that you gave me helped me tremendously. I even here driving here, I had to sleep in my car, like literally, because I'm just trying to minimize as much money that I'm spending out. Getting a hotel will become a little costly or whatever. So it was one time that I did have to go sleep in the car, and she was like, well, maybe you can just get a room for the night or whatever. And guys, I know in the comments you're gonna probably say, oh, don't do that. Look, I'm a big girl, and don't act like you've never been on a road trip where you had to sleep in a car. You have an RV. I have a nice size SUV where it's okay. You know, I was safe. I have my peacemaker with me, mace, and other defensive items that you know what I'm talking about. I'm okay. So, but this is just a challenge that I went through, that I'm going through at this time, but the Lord is with me. He's protecting me and is guiding me on along my way. It just seems like the enemy is trying so hard to stop me from making this move. And guess what? I'm not going to give up. And if you're out there and trying to make that same move, and there's challenges and obstacles and that are coming your way, don't stop. Keep pushing. Even if you feel like the Most High is not there for you, He's there. You just have to trust and believe and keep faith in Him. Trust and believe. And trust me, He's been blessing me. I'm going to get a little bit closer to the monument. It's going to get dark again. I kind of just paused, and my dog is like, come on, I want to go for a walk. That's the light that I was using to kind of shine on my face a little bit. But I'm getting closer. Look at that. I'm at the Washington Mall. I've been to D.C. a couple of times, only for business, never for pleasure. It was like an in and out thing, so I'm kind of excited to be able to kind of look at it a little bit, even though it's dark outside. I wish I had a little bit of daylight to kind of see a little bit more of what it looks like during the day. So I'm going to pause the video until I get closer. So see if I can can't see nothing. So considering that I had already paid for my $160, there was no reason for me to make the decision to use that third party or that I guess third party company that will process the visa application for you, and then you just pay their additional fee, which was $550. At that point, I couldn't backtrack because I've already paid the $160 for the application that I've already completed and processed through the online system. So when I made the appointment, immediately I had purchased an airline ticket through Spirit Airline. The tickets were extremely cheap. One way from Houston to Texas was like $37, and then from Houston to Texas. From Houston to DC was $37, and then from DC to back to Houston, it was like $64. And then of course they add those additional fees, $137. So I figured, hey, $160 plus $170. I said, hey, I still come out a little cheaper than the $550, which is a savings of $253, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm still coming out okay. And then I saved myself $253. So as I thought at the time. So I booked the flight. To make a long story short, because I don't want this to. Okay, guys, I'm trying to finish this up because I'm really tired. I'm really, really tired, but I wanted to put out this video so that you know what I've been going through, and also my absence on YouTube, and also why I have not been replying to a lot of emails that my subscriber sent to me, because there are excuse me, there are a few people who do check up on me and to help me through my process to return back home to Africa, especially for this visit, because this is a very important visit that I'm doing to help prepare myself to make preparation to move to Africa or smoothly. So let me just go ahead and finish up the story about once I got to DC. So once I had arrived, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm trying. Come on, Liz. soon as I'm done, I'm gonna shut down. But as soon as I arrived to, okay, no, I've arrived to DC and got settled in, and then later that day, I my appointment was not until 3 p.m., but something told me to go in there earlier than 3 p.m. and see if they can kind of allow me, uh, um, they allow me to go in earlier than my actual booked appointment. And I did that on purpose so that I can kind of knock that out of the way, and then I can use the remainder of the day to kind of do the tourism of Washington D.C. Because I wanted to go to the White House and the Washington Monument and the Abraham Lincoln Monument and see where Martin Luther King had did that "I Dream a Dream" speech, and just to reflect on the history of my black culture. And then also there's an African American museum there too as well that I wanted to visit. And unfortunately, I didn't make it to the African American museum because it was the time wasn't there. And but I'm about to explain that. So I got there a little bit around, I would say, 11 a.m. I got there and basically was stating that, hey, I know my appointment is not until this time, but I'm here a little bit early. And the front desk, I guess, lady receptionist was a little rude. But at this point, I'm like, Liz, just go with the flow. You've driven so far to get, to Washington. Don't even just ignore her attitude. You're here on a mission to get this completed, because I'd be damned if I've driven this far in vain. And whatever I need to do to make this happen in order for me to complete this visa process so that I can return home to Nigeria, I'm going to do whatever it takes. So as I'm speaking to the receptionist, the lady who I spoke to over the phone overheard me speaking to her. And she overheard that I said Houston, Texas. She said, yeah, I know who she is. She's okay. Let her through. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you remember me. Thank you. So I was like, that ain't but the Lord. There's nothing but the favor of God. So she told me I had to step out because there was only a limited of 5 people that can be in that office. And it was a small office because of COVID and had to be, comply to the 6 feet social distancing rule. So she said, give me your number and I'll give you a call when you need to come in. So I gave her my number. And then at that time I said, well, it looks like it's going to take a while before she calls me. Let me go and drive around and go get some coffee. So I kind of just went out on a stroll in my car and to find a place to get. Actually, I had my own coffee. I just needed some hot water to make some coffee because I didn't want to spend any money. So as I'm driving around, I end up meeting a local person there that was telling me a quick way to go do the whole tourism sites and things of that nature. And as I was talking to this fellow, I got the call. So to go back to the office. So I immediately just got in my car, drove back to the office, and that's when she was saying that she needed to look at all of my paperwork to make sure that I have everything that I need in order for me to move on to the next process, which is the fingerprinting and taking the picture of yourself and all this. So as she was looking at my application, she said, oh, you're at the wrong office. She said, your application is for the Atlanta office. Now, initially, when I had applied, I uh, I selected the Atlanta office because that's where I wanted to go, and I didn't know they had one in Houston, but at the time, so whatever office that you initially apply for the visa application, that money goes towards that office. She said, you're not going to be able to we can't accept this application because it's not through our office, even though it's through the same online integrated system that still will be processed for the Nigerian embassy. So I'm like, well, what's the purpose in that? I said, can you just switch it over? And I mean, it's the same system that you're using. She said, yeah, but that money is applied to that office. She said, you're going to have to fill out the application all over again and pay another 100, the $160 application fee. And I'm like, what? So I'm over here thinking, like, if I had flew out there and not having any transportation, I'm like, how would I be able to get that done? So I said, well, look, I had my laptop with me, and I said, well, I just need to go somewhere where there's Wi-Fi. And I said, well, do you have Wi-Fi here at the office where I can just go on my laptop and do it? She said, no, we don't have free Wi-Fi. You're going to have to go somewhere else. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So basically, make a long story short, and then on top of that, she said, well, since you didn't have everything that you need, we're not going to be able to process your visa. And you're going to have to make another appointment. I said, well, technically, my appointment is not until 3 p.m. anyway. And I said, it's at that time, an hour had passed, so it was 12 o'clock. I said, I still have time to get what I need done to be back for my appointment at 3 a.m. Thank God for that. So the lady said, well, make sure you have everything done, because if you don't, if you're not here back at 3, we shut down everything or whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm over here looking online to see where's the on my phone, where's the nearest Starbucks, so that I can use their Wi-Fi. And then also I have to find the nearest Kinko's or FedEx so that I can print out the application, print out all the documents that I need, and proof that I paid for the receipt that I paid the $160. And let me tell you, it was not easy. I found a Starbucks, but then I had complications with the application. It took me 6 attempts to redo the application over. For some reason, their system was shutting down. So now I'm getting anxieties because the time is ticking. The time is ticking, and I'm like, it took me like 5 attempts initially before I said, if this 6th time, I said, if this doesn't work, then I'm driving back to Houston and I won't be going to Africa. Like I was just like, I keep running into one issue after the other. I'm like, what is going on? Why is this process so difficult for me? So on the 6th try, right when I was just about to just give up again, the application went through. Then I was able to pay the $160. And then boom. Once I got that, I saved it on my USB flash drive. Then I went to FedEx to print it out. Got everything printed out, proof of the receipt and everything. Now it is, at this time, it is 2:45 p.m., 15 minutes before their office is closed. I'm rushing back over there, make it there before they close. And there was other people there who were going through that same dilemma that I went through, that did their applications through other offices, because we didn't know that they were not accepting any more appointments. So we were forced to go to D.C. So it wasn't just me who were going through this challenge of, the application process and all that or whatever. So I get there in time. I'm sitting there for her to call my name, and then I end up meeting a lady there and a guy who was telling me about their challenges of traveling to DC. One guy was saying that he had to come all the way to DC as well, and in the midst of him coming to DC, he gets hit by a semi truck, and he got his car totaled, and he still made his appointment. He had to take an Uber to get to to his appointment. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here it is. I'm thinking I'm going through something. This guy, he's traveling by car too, and his car gets totaled by a semi truck. my navigation went down. It's like we all had like our own personal like horror stories about this process of trying to, to get to Africa and everything. And I'm like, wow, what is going on? Like, what is this challenge? And it's like we're all feeling like something is about to happen, and the enemy is trying to stop us from getting where we need to be, because there are some challenging times that's about to come up right now in the US, and I don't want to be here whenever it happens. So we're all kind of just sharing our own personal stories. Make a long story short, we all got our paperwork processed, and we all left at the same time. And right before I left, we kind of exchanged numbers, and we took a selfie picture. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna throw up the selfie picture up right now, so that you can see them. And the lady that's in this picture that I'm about to show, um, she did something very special for me. So I'm gonna show the picture. So you saw a picture of the guy and the lady, the guy who got his car totaled by the semi truck, and then the lady who also was going through her challenges as too. But before I left, she said, Liz, it was a pleasure meeting you. But she said, through this brief moment of us getting to know one another, and she said, hopefully we'll be able to see each other on the other side in Nigeria, and maybe we can go out to dinner or something in Lagos. And I said, man, I would love that. And she said, but the Lord placed this in my heart to give you something. And then she pulls out a money order for $160. She gives me $160. Y'all, I'm over here like, wow. When my navigation went down and I stopped at that gas station, out of all the gas stations that I could have stopped at, the lady who encouraged me and then gave me $100 bill. Then I meet this lady at the Washington D.C. office to get our visa process. She doesn't know me from Adam, but from that brief moment, she felt the need to, give me a money order for $160. And I'm over here like, it's right here. I still have it. $160. And I'm like, I was just so thankful that she would even allow the Lord to use her in that way. And she was a woman of the faith too. She shared her personal story with me and how she believed in the Most High, and how she believed that things happen in a divine way. She said we were meant to see each other on this day. And the conversation that we had a personal conversation, and we connected spiritually with one another. And I'm so thankful that we were able to exchange numbers, because I feel like that will be someone that I will be friends with in the future, once I get all settled into Nigeria, because she's moving to Nigeria as well. And so I'm just so blessed to meet such a beautiful person. And if she's watching this video, I just want to just thank you again. Thank you so much for just to allow the Lord to use you in such a powerful way, because you don't know the financial struggles that I've been going through. And that money, this $160, is it's helping me out so much more than what you know. Because when you think you have everything in order and you think you got all your finances right, and other things come up that was so unexpected that you didn't budget for, and then someone like you to come in my life to bless me with this. I'm just very thankful. If you're watching this, thank you again. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you. I love you for that. And I will continue to pray for you and your Beyonce, and congratulations to you again, to your engagement. And I just pray that one day the Lord will reconnect us again once we get to the other side, once we both return back home. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, yeah, at this time, everything has been processed. I stayed a few more hours in D.C. You'll see a couple of clips of me, visiting the Washington Monument and the Abra, Abraham Lincoln Monuments, and also the White House as well. So I hope you guys enjoy those little mini vlogs that I did. Keep in mind, I'm not a vlogger, so and I didn't even have all my YouTube videography equipment. I kind of just work with what I had, and so it's not all that perfect, but you just get a glimpse of me being there, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And thank you for listening to this video. I'm sorry that it took so long to get to this video, and I'm sorry that my energy level is a little down. I'm a little tired. I'm about to kind of just shut it down right now. And again, thank you for watching this video. I hope there was something that I said to encourage someone to not give up on their journey, to not give up on their pursuit to either visit Africa, whatever part of Africa that you're going to visit, whatever country, or if you're planning to move there permanently and you find yourself in a situation where so many obstacles are coming your way, so many challenges, so many frustrating things that may affect your finances or even your family that may not agree with you on your decision. Just know that whatever was placed on your heart for you to do, continue to carry out that vision. Don't allow the enemy or the enemy to use your family members to convince you that what you're doing is wrong. There's nothing you're doing is wrong. Follow your heart, follow your spirit, and always know that the Lord is by your side. I know I had those challenges of giving up, and I had to remind myself that I've been through far more worse situations than what I had experienced within these last 4 days of traveling. I made it back home safely by the grace of God. I made it to Washington, D.C. safely. And it was meant for me to go there by car, because had I not did that, I wouldn't be able to rectify the situation the way that I did, going to Starbucks and to redo the application over. Because had I flew out there and not have any transportation to kind of navigate around the city to get those things done, I would have had to fly all the way back to Houston without getting my visa processed. So either way it goes, it would have been a blank trip. So some of you may think that it was crazy of me to drive 29 hours to DC, but everything was by divine. Everything, what I'm saying is, it was by divine that I go the way that I went. It was meant for me to go the way that I had traveled to DC, because I was able to meet some wonderful people along my path. And then also I was able to reflect and to speak to God on a personal level for those 29 hours there, and also those 29 hours back home to Houston. And it gave me some opportunities to kind of really prepare myself for this trip, and also to prepare myself for other things for upcoming events that will be happening in the near future. So I don't want to keep rambling. I'm tired. I'm a little delusional. I'm about to just sit back and go to sleep right now. I hate that you guys have to kind of see me in this type of position, but I am just like, I'm tired. Like, I did something crazy. I drove to DC, but I'm sorry for this video for being so long. Thank you for watching. Thank you for those who've been praying for me, who's been sending me encouraging emails. Thank you, Brenton Pierce. Thank you so much. I know you've been emailing me, and I'm going to respond. Um, Thank you. I'm going to be reaching out to you. I just haven't had a chance to kind of settle in, and I figured let me do a quick video, which technically did not turn out to be a quick video, and it turned out to be longer than what I expected. But thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your encouragement. I'm getting closer to my destination, and all the last thing that I have to wait for is to receive my passport in the mail, and then also is the next step will be flying out, traveling to Nigeria. So I'll give you an update on that, of the progress of that, of the visa, and then also other things that I have going on right now. So, guys, thank you so much. And as always, it's not how you start, it's how you finish the race, guys. Finish your race. Don't give up. Stay strong. Stay focused. Remember, we need one another. Encourage one another. Encourage a friend. Encourage a loved one. Encourage yourself. Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the race. So, see you till next time, guys. Love you. See ya.